Welcome to For Real. It's time to communicate and get real about relationships with your host, Liesel, Daisley, and psychologist, Krisnan. So join us for real. Hello and welcome back to For Real, your show about relationships. I'm your host, Liesel Daisley, and as always joining me is our guest, psychologist and life coach sitting in the hot seat today. And when you hear the topic, you'll understand why I say hot seat, Krisnan. Welcome, Krisnan.
Hey, Liesel. Thank you.
Such a pleasure having you as always.
It's a pleasure being here. Let's see if it will be pleasant.
Well, there are a lot of happy viewers out there. But can somebody be happy on their own? Like really be happy on their own?
I think that we were born alone, aren't we?
Yes, we were. Except for
alone.
twins. Well, maybe not. Because one has to come out at a time.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that people must find themselves, must understand themselves, must understand their strengths, their talents, and also what they bring to the table before the relationship.
Okay.
So whether they had been in a relationship, or whether they are between relationships, I guess you would call it, or whether they have not been in a relationship for a very long time, it's important to have a sense of mission and purpose about life, and you take that with you into the relationship.
Right.
So maybe you'd ask, if a person does feel like they have a sense of purpose and mission, can they be happy on their own? I still think the answer is yes. Of course, most people have a desire to be connected. There are some people who actually don't.
Yeah.
Maybe
true.
they had been in relationships and they're quite happy they're done with that. Or maybe they just don't feel like they connect well with people.
Yeah.
And they like their own space. So that's also fine. But I think that people have to learn to be comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
And they have to have their own individual sense of mission and purpose. And when we have that, then of course another person can add or share to it, to your sense of purpose. But even if you are seeking to be a relationship, you need to be able to feel it on your own.
Yeah.
One of the things I hear so often when I work with clients, or also when I see people, friends or people on the street, in daily life, I hear them say that sometimes they're in relationships but they feel lonely.
That's a sad place to be.
Even if to their partner they feel like the relationship is all right, but when you're in a relationship and you feel lonely, it means that you still don't feel a sense of fulfillment, you still don't feel a sense of satisfaction, and you don't feel connected.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have a social circle, so that you're not physically or socially isolated, but you also need that if you're in a relationship that you feel fulfilled on purpose.
It sounds like you're saying it's important to be a whole person. You're looking for that holistic self before entering into a relationship. But how does a person determine their happiness though?
Well, one of the things I do in life coaching is helping people to find their mission, their purpose.
Okay.
And it sounds like, maybe complicated or elusive. But it's really about what gives you passion, what wakes you up, what fires you up. And what do you feel is the cause that you're living for?
Okay.
When you find people who are going through some kind of personal crisis, either they're disconnected from their sense of purpose, or they don't feel like they have a purpose and they're really lost.
Yeah.
So having that sense of what am I living for? What am I doing with my life? What is the greater cause I'm living for? How am I making a contribution to my community? How is my life making a difference in others or to the community around me? And that is where I think, for the most part, when you read books, man's search for meaning, you know, how to be 7 habits of highly effective people. We really hear stories of and examples of making a contribution to a bigger cause.
So there are steps in that process?
You understand your strengths, you understand your personality type.
Okay.
You understand what works well for you. You understand how you work in social settings. What is your sense of roles? What do I do? And then as a partner, what is my role? What do I bring to the relationship? But before we go there, then of course, what is my sense of what my life is about? And then it can go into, so we start with personality types. Then we look at personal mission. What is my contribution to the world around me?
Yeah.
And what is the thing that drives me?
Yeah.
And then it can also go into career, because people do get a sense of fulfillment from their career. So maybe looking at a career that fits your personality type and your mission. If not the career, finding a cause that you can contribute to,
Right.
or creating a cause that you can contribute to,
True.
so that you can fulfill or execute that sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And then writing things down, and reminding yourself of what you are and the direction you're going in.
Yeah.
Your sense of purpose.
I like that. I like those suggestions because, to be honest with you, you could almost get lost in the other person if you are not careful and lose yourself.
Yeah.
So it is important, as you have said, to know who you are and understand what drives you.
Yeah.
So that once you enter into a relationship, you still have yourself.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work out, you're not at a loss as to, who am I? You don't feel empty because you would have already dealt with self.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that has driven, if I may say, the feminism movement, and I hear a lot of women speaking about it, is that because of having to bring up children, we've established in this Western society that we should have jobs and we want to make a contribution to the family. And some people feel that by making this contribution to the family, they've lost themselves. They have been living for their children or for their marriage, and now they don't know who they are and what they like to do.
Empty nesters.
Yeah. So that is important, to have that sense of what am I doing, and then you want to be able to, if you can find a circle that you can identify with. Having a social circle and a social space is very useful.
Yeah.
So that you can find people who are either on a similar path to you, or when I say a similar path, on a path to finding purpose, or who share your values and who share your sense of purpose. So they may be doing a similar cause to you, or maybe they are involved in the organization that you're involved in. Maybe they are the same age as you. That can help, because having a circle who you can identify with is important.
Yeah. You mentioned a lot about being happy within, which is paramount.
Yeah.
But can somebody who's not happy within make somebody else happy?
That goes back to your idea of being a whole person.
Okay.
When a person has been hurt, Liesel, they've been through personal traumas, they've been through repeated traumas, they've been through situations where they always felt like they are they're feeling like victim, or they're having to give up themselves to make other people happy. They're having to either conform or to kind of always put up with the status quo. They put themselves last. Then you can find that they become very unhappy.
Yeah.
And they also have lost themselves, and because they aren't happy, they can tend to try to repress or suppress other people from being happy as well.
Okay.
So it's important to find your happiness, find a way to find your happiness, whether it is therapy, coaching, connecting with a mentor, because that's also important, or connecting with a social group who aren't disgruntled. Because sometimes you can find yourself connecting in circles with people who are disgruntled, and we're a bunch of miserable people operating together.
And they bring you down.
And they bring you down, and they kind of keep you in that space.
Yeah.
So we want to find people who are a journey of success, a journey of progress, who are living progressively, who can inspire you to be better. And when you find your sense of happiness, as you find your sense of happiness, because it's a journey, and as you find your sense of purpose, then you can share it with others. But you can't share what you don't have within. You can't share from an empty cup.
It's true. But more and more, as I talk to people, both men and women, I find that more and more people are deciding to go at it alone. Because, like you mentioned earlier, they may have had past experiences, and not necessarily bad or traumatic, but been there, done that, prefer to go at it alone.
Right.
What are some tips you can give those people to be happy alone?
Find things that you love to do. Just generally, you want to change your emotional space, and this is something I speak about on one of the other series I share on. Finding a healthy emotional space that you reside in. Okay. Which is about building positive emotions, peace, happiness, feeling a sense of fulfillment, not allowing the weather to dictate your emotions or the space, what people around you do when you go to work, letting them dictate your emotions. So finding that, choosing your emotions, which speak to emotional intelligence. Yes. Choosing your emotions and choosing the energy that you reside in, as opposed to seeking it from other people. Okay. You want to make a contribution to a cause bigger than yourself. Yeah. You want to find a family, and that family might be friends that you call family, or you might want to reconnect with your family of origin. Because sometimes we find that we feel grounded when we are back with our family. So if you have the opportunity and the space is created, reconnect with your family. Yeah. Reconnect with your cousins, reconnect with your parents or your siblings. Another thing you want to do is to look after yourself. Yes. Find self-care activities. Massages, going to the beach, reading books. Yes. Personal development, and things that really lift your spirit and put your mind in a positive frame of mind. Yeah. So that even though you might not have someone who compliments you in your space who you're living with, you can feel like you are really healthy and whole on your own. Yeah. It's one thing to say, I am doing this on my own, but some people can feel emptiness and can feel that void. Yeah. So you want to fill your mind with things and with tasks that really fill you up. Yes. Yeah. Understood. Sounds good. Well, you heard it. Fill yourself up. Spoil yourself, pamper yourself, treat yourself, and find a cause to get involved in that's bigger than you. Those are some tips that you can be happy and fulfilled, and you can go at it alone. You don't have to have a partner to be happy. You can be happy all on your own. So once again, it was such a pleasure having you join us on For Real. Share this video with your friends so that they can be happy too, just like Krisnan and myself. It was a pleasure having you, like I said, so we look forward to seeing you again soon on For Real.